So just while you're not talking, if you guys will mute, and then we'll go from there, okay? Yep. All right, guys. So thank you for hopping on. We're going to get started here in just a second. But, it's been, to me, I always love going through this process with getting ready for these power hours. I mean, they to me are as exciting as anything that we can go through. And what I'm going to share with you guys today is really something that was um, very powerful to me when I needed this. So I'm glad that you guys are getting on. I'm glad that this is something that I think you'll see if you can get your groups to start to participate in these. It will not only open up their eyes to the success, but success during crisis. And there's no question. I think we'd be crazy to think that the world is all just perfect right now, because it's not. But we've had many very successful people in front of us that have gone through much more difficult things than what we are going to go through over the next few weeks. So I'm to me, this is a topic that is not just important, but it's something that will prepare us for the success that is to come. It's going to prepare us for the success that really requires a foundation and an understanding of what it takes to be successful during times of crisis. And there's almost no better time than to go through this than now, especially as people are trying to figure out, what makes them happy, how to get out of the fear, and really how to feel more control of their lives. And so I'm glad that you guys joined me today. It looks like we've got Mexico represented. We've got Austria. We've got the Netherlands. We've got the United States. We've got people from all over the place. So thank you for hopping on today. I'm not going to be in a hurry to go through this today, guys. I'm going to go through this in the time that the time that it takes to really give people the understanding of the power of what we're going through. It'll take us about a week to go through this initial part. And what I hope is that we can lay a foundation with this power hour and the leaders that hop on here to be able to follow up with the launch planner, and then even start to teach people on how to use social media during this time, how to help people really see that they can be successful. So as you're hopping on, know that I am allowing you to speak. You can unmute yourself, and I'll even share your video. Just be sure that you either raise your hand during this part of it, um, or just send me a chat on the chat box, and we can start to go through some of these things. But I'm gonna share with you guys just a couple different notes that I went through, and I'd really like this to be as interactive as possible with you guys that are coming in, really all over the world on this call. So to me, it's an honor that you guys would take time out of your day, and I know many of you guys it's the evening. So let me share my screen with you, and we'll go through some of this. All right, you guys should be able to see that by now. And like I say, it's going to be important that you guys participate during this time, and that's what's going to make this as powerful. Just as a short background on when I was really introduced to this. I was introduced to this book that we're going to go through, and it's not so much a book as it is a seminar that we're going to go through. And we're looking for the people who truly have a foundation and an understanding of how it is to live a complete life and to take control of your life. And so today, obviously, with what's going on and with everything, and the world's kind of in a crisis. I've got a son that's in Peru, and we're receiving information from the State Department on the different things that are going on. And we still feel very much in control, and we feel very much. Of course, we're not unaffected by this, but for us to succeed, this is our time. This is our generation's time to be able to show that we have the grit, the same way that so many of our ancestors and so many of the previous generation to us in the much more difficult crises that they went through. And so I started studying right before this, the stock market crash, which led to the Great Depression in 1929. And this is actually the newspaper that showed up in Brooklyn, New York, that said Wall Street in panic as stocks crash. That this is 1929 and from 1929 till 1940. So we're talking 11, 12 years of absolute crisis that was going on in the world. And it was so bad that nearly a quarter of all the workers were unemployed. And I wasn't able to find the world's gross national product, but the GNP of the United States was cut by 50%. 50%. And I understand that we've had some problems with the stocks. We've had problems with people panicking. We have runs on toilet paper, but the fact is that this will pass so much faster than what our grandparents experienced in the times of the crisis of the Great Depression. And so I started looking at this and I said, well, okay, what is it? What created the success, or what companies had success? And there was one in particular that really caught my eye, was Procter and Gamble. So Procter and Gamble, of course, sold soap, and this is their ivory soap, what it looked like in 1929. It cracks me up. It says it floats. And they really started to get hit during the Great Depression. All of the stores were cutting back, and everybody stopped advertising. So what they did is they said, look, everybody needs soap. So they pivoted and they said, you know what? We're going to increase our advertising. We are going to be more bold. We're going to go out there and we are going to proclaim proudly to the world that our soap is the best. And what happened is they thrived during the Great Depression. And they started doing something that was new, which was radio advertising for soap. And they advertised for a show called Ma Perkins, which was kind of a dramatic show, that's why today the news started calling it the soap opera, because they were advertising on these dramatic storytelling times. But what they did is, instead of cowering in fear, instead of going back to what a lot of people were doing, which is just worried about doing anything. And so many people, we're just days into this, and we have people that are afraid to do just about anything. And shortly after this, of course, there was the World War II, and World War II, the people suffered dramatic. The suffering was dramatic, and especially in Europe, and what was happening there. So what we are going through is going to be a short time, and we need to keep that in perspective. And so, as I went through this, as we have been doing these team calls with our employees each day, to me, it has been really important for our people to be able to see the hope, and for people to understand that we always are going through ups and downs during these periods. We're always going through difficulties throughout the history of the earth, throughout the history of all the different countries. And it's the people that stand up during this time that understand, and especially with some of the changes that we are going to be announcing, that will be very attractive even during difficult times, that we are going to be able to make a pivot as well here very soon. And the leaders that truly stand up and understand that this will pass are going to come out of this very strong, with a very good team of people to help them succeed with it. What I want to ask you guys, and this is, like I say, be sure that you understand this is where definitely want you guys to know that you can participate in this, and that you guys can provide feedback with it. I'm trying to monitor all the different channels the feedback on the chat. And I've unmuted many of you to be able to participate with it. And I'll ask, before we get started, 2 questions. And here's the first one. Are you truly committed to living a complete life? So are you truly committed to living a complete life? Right now, it's really easy to get to get hunkered down. It's really easy to start worrying about just the worst possible things that can happen. But my question for you is, are you really committed to living a complete life? Let me put this on presentation mode. So that's the first one. The next one I'd ask you, are you comfortable talking about money? Now, I know there's a lot of people that may criticize the timing of this. They may criticize and even say, what are you talking about money right now? But most people, even as they enter to be entrepreneurs and affiliates with our company, they're not comfortable talking about money. How in the world are you ever going to be successful if you don't feel comfortable talking about money? And let me tell you, there's people right now that are even saying to entrepreneurs, back off during this time, stop pushing, stop doing this. It's the worst thing that we can do. The very best thing that the world needs is a bunch of optimistic entrepreneurs leading this charge into the future with it. So with that, anybody that you're certainly willing, like I say, to do this, what is the difficulty as an entrepreneur? And make sure you chat with me and make sure that I've unmuted you properly. What is the difficulty that some of you are facing? And I know we've got a lot of different languages on here. We've got everything from Dutch to German to Spanish to English on here. What are some of the difficulties that your people, the entrepreneurs in your groups and in your networks, are having who do not feel comfortable talking about money? Any of you guys experienced any of that? Just got the chat on that one. Now I'm getting a chat on my phone as well with it. Yes, anybody that does not feel comfortable talking about money is going to have a difficult time asking a prospect for it. You're right. Thanks, Tom, for that. And the reality is, yes, if you are not willing to talk about money, you are going to have a very difficult time ever making money. So let me proceed with this. And the first time that I went through this with my wife, this one sentence right here, this one sentence caused about an hour of conversation. I can see my wife is actually on here. And we read this. This is something in this seminar I went to. We'd been married for just over a year. And I had done very well the first year of our marriage financially. And then I started my own business. And my own business was failing miserably. It was failing miserably. And so I got the invitation to go to the seminar, and the seminar cost me $10,000. It was a 4-day seminar, and it cost me $10,000 plus flights, plus hotels, plus food to get there. And for a young broke couple, that was a tremendous investment that we had to make with it. And so let me stop the share really quickly with this and make sure that we've got everybody that's, let me go on here, make sure you've got it. I'm going to unmute Angela. You should be on there, Angela. You should be able to unmute yourself. I would like you to share with them just what it is that, what you felt as a brand new couple, that what it was like for you when I spent $10,000 that we did not have, put it on a credit card that we did not, what was it like for you, for me to put the $10,000 on our credit card at that time?
How honest should I be?
You'd be as honest. You'd be honest.
Well, for the first weeks, I was actually unaware that he had done this. I think he mentioned that yesterday. So ignorance was bliss for a couple of days. And then, let's see, SHTF, right?
SHTF.
Does everyone know that acronym? The stuff hit the fan. And it was an argument for, I don't even remember.
It was a pretty aggressive argument.
Days or weeks or whatever that it lasted. But yeah, it was intense, to say the least. Yeah.
And what was really interesting this time, up until that, it felt like everything that I had ever done worked. It did. It felt like everything that I'd ever done worked. Whatever I tried to sell, I was able to sell. Whatever I tried to do in a business, it worked. And then all of a sudden, everything that I was doing didn't work. And I truly felt, and I'll use a quote that an old cowboy said, when you're in crap up to your neck, it doesn't hurt to pee your pants. You think through that, and many of you foreigners may not get that one, but when you're in crap up to your neck, it doesn't hurt to pee your pants. I just felt I was so in such bad shape mentally, spiritually. I felt very dark thoughts during that time because I could not get anything done for my family. And so when I went to this is one of the first things that we talked about as a group. And this is where I'm going to put the share back on. And I would like to know your thoughts about this sentence. This is the first sentence in the book of The Science of Getting Rich. Tell me your thoughts about this one. What do you think when you read this chapter or this first part of it? And I've unmuted you. You're welcome to unmute yourself. And Angela, I can even tell you that some of these shy people now, we've got more people hopping on. We've got Canada. We've got more from Mexico. What is it that I think we started talking about this on a trip to Utah from Idaho, and it was about a 4-hour conversation with this one sentence right here. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich. About an hour, it took us about an hour to stop just being really mad at each other before we could start to have this conversation with it. So somebody that got the courage there, let's get this talking. What do you think when you read this first sentence?
I've been at the top with lots of money, no debt, debt-free, went into partnership, lost it all, couldn't afford a car. I can tell you it's a lot better to have money than not have money.
Yeah, there's Ron from Canada. Thank you, Ron. There's no question that when you do not have money, especially with me, you become far more materialistic, far less giving, far less sharing. You truly start to hunker down and try to figure out how in the world just to make ends meet. And when you're in a desperate situation, many times it's very difficult to become creative, becomes very difficult to start to think about your health, becomes very difficult to think about anything but just surviving. I'm going to actually ask Ignacio he raised his hand with that. Nacho, if you're not on mute, let me make sure that you.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, Nacho.
I think this is very important question for a lot of people, but let me tell you something. When you have money, you become more of yourself. If you are a good guy, you became a more good guy, a better guy. So in terms of money, you can help more people, but the most important people around you, first of all, is yourself, then your family, your children, your parents. And it's so fulfilling to be able to help those people that you love that are around you. And if you don't have that money, it's not possible to do that. And to just see their faces, their smile on their faces when something that before was not, it was not possible to achieve. And now because you are rich or you have money, you can actually do it. And that is priceless. It's not about the money. It's about those moments that you can see your loved ones really enjoying because of the money, so yeah, this is completely true.
It was really interesting and thank you with that, Nacho, because you're absolutely right. And you're going to see as you go through this book really starts to hit a nerve with a lot of people. What I'm truly looking for during this time is who are going to be our leaders, who are going to be the people that are going to step up and take things to the next level. But to do that, you have to be committed to all areas of life. There's a quote that I wrote down that says, money wasn't meant to make you happy. It was meant to make you comfortable. It's not until you have many of your different things in line that you have the ability to go out and truly change the world. Truly change the world. Rodolfo just wrote, for us that is not aligned to what is said by our God, so that doesn't fit into our life. Ana and Rodolfo, go ahead and unmute yourself and explain that.
To us, well, we're very focused on what our God and Savior, Jesus Christ, has done for us. So this quote doesn't fit in our life.
And I think, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is something that we don't teach. This is something we don't live. This is something we don't want the people who are near to us has to live with this. We have to be light.
Well, and you make a super good point with it. And this is the conversation that my wife and I had for hours with that exact same issue with it. So let's go through this. And I think one of the things that you're going to see, because I'm really glad you brought it up. I was waiting for somebody to be able to bring an objection to it, because it is the right thing to do, is to be able to talk through this, because a lot of people are very fearful, because you look through and you're obviously referring to the Bible, you're referring to a lot of the different, it doesn't matter if it's Judaism, it doesn't matter if it's Christianity. There is so many different people that are afraid to talk about a rich and successful life. So let's go through this, and we're going to go back to that very valid concern that Rodolfo brought up. That the fact is this book addresses that exact same point with it. So I'm glad you brought it up, because now we can address that. So you go to the next one, and John wrote on there, without money, fear is in control. That's absolutely correct. And you compare to the time of biblical times, when, for example, a cow, you're able to barter a cow to be able to pay for a lot of different things, or chickens, eggs. It doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. Realistically, Rodolfo, you're not incorrect that we've been taught the love of money can be the downfall. But what we're talking about here is not just a love of money. We're not just saying that you have to love money. And many people go out as entrepreneurs and sabotage themselves because of the fear of being able to take care of things. And there's a quote in just a second that will address that. And I'm glad you brought it up. So here it is. No person can rise to his greatest possible height in talent or soul development unless he has plenty of money. For to unfold the soul and to develop talent, he must have many things to use. And he cannot have these things unless he has money to buy them with. So I know that Ana and Rodolfo just got back from an amazing trip to Japan. An amazing trip to Japan. I know John was there. There's some people on this call that were able to do that. The fact is that you never would have had that amazing cultural experience without the money to be able to see that. Without the money, you don't have the ability to rest, to have the ability to purchase good and healthy food. Without money, you don't have the ability to do so many different things because of the way that the earth and the way that societies are now run. The object of all life is development, and everything that lives has an inalienable right to all the development it is capable of attaining. And I think that what I love that someone had the courage, that Rodolfo, to be able to say that in the beginning, which is that many people think that it's a sin to be able to be successful. Many people think that. Let me tell you that without the money, you do not have the ability to purchase the food, to purchase the recreation, to purchase the downtime that we need to be able to focus on spirituality, to be able to focus on all areas of the life. So let me go to this one. A person's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all the things which may be necessary to his fullest mental, spiritual, and physical unfoldment. In other words, his right to be rich. So one of the things that Rodolfo and I just wrote in there, and I want you to unmute yourself, and I want you to say that. Read that out loud, would you? What you just put in the chat box.
Yeah. Okay. Without money, you can help others.
That is so true. Many times, and I've challenged people as I've gone through this, and especially as my wife and I went through this the first time. Let me tell you, if you do not feel comfortable talking through money like this, you're never going to have a lot of success as an entrepreneur, unless you're a singer or unless you're a professional athlete and somebody else handles your money for you. But understand, even professional athletes can't get to where they want to be without money. You think of one of the most amazing people that lived in the last 100 years was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, many people think, well, she didn't have money. Well, what she had is she had corporations that sponsored her with private jets to take her wherever she wanted to go. That required exactly what Rodolfo put right there. Without money, you can't help others. Churches are spread, charities are done because they have the right, and they have the right foundation to do it. Why is it that I'm talking about this first before next week when we are going to start to do the GFU launch planner? The reason is that if entrepreneurs do not understand that the society has evolved so much, then they're going to have a difficult time they're going to have a difficult time succeeding. It says no person ought to be satisfied with the little if he is capable of using and enjoying more. The purpose of nature is the advancement and unfoldment of life, and every man should have all that he can contribute to the power, elegance, beauty, and richness of life. You think of the people that are out changing the world right now. Who are they? Who are they? Unmute yourself and tell me some examples of people that are changing the world right now, and especially during this crisis. Who is changing the world right now? Who are the people that are giving hope? Who are the people that are doing this? And explain to me how they can do that without the resources. That is so beautiful. It says the power, elegance, beauty, and richness of life. That comes from enjoying it. And if you don't think that Mother Nature doesn't take advantage of everything it has to offer, come and help me mow my lawn. We just had to send our $9,000 lawnmower to the shop to be ready because Mother Nature expands. Mother Nature is not a small thinker. She continues to take over if you are not careful. And we have the right to expand. We have the right to the richness and beauty of life. And that's what's so amazing about, as I went through this the first time, the person who owns all he wants for the living of all the life he is capable of living is rich. And no man who has not plenty of money can have all he wants. Life, this is the part that I want you to understand. This is where so many of the people who believe in the Bible, and I do believe in the Bible, and I read the Bible with it. And it says, life has advanced so far and become so complex then even the most ordinary man or woman requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. And this book was written over 100 years ago. We're not talking becoming a billionaire. We're not even talking about becoming a multimillionaire. We're talking about the amount of money it takes for you to live a complete life. If you desire that kind of wealth, understand that I really believe that you must have a complete life to have true happiness. And if $1 billion is your goal and it takes you away from the spiritual and the physical, and all it is the financial, that is what this book is saying is wrong. This book is saying that you must have a complete life. And because society has advanced so far, money is what is required in order to help have the food, to have the time to study, and really the resources to do what you want to do. Every person naturally wants to become all that they are capable of becoming. This desire to realize innate possibilities is inherent in human nature, and we cannot help wanting to be all that we can be. So many people just think of it from the monetary side of it, guys, but what money does is gives you the ability to be all you can be. To not be held back with the food, to not be held back the ability to go experience what so many of you that are on the call experienced when you were in Japan. That cultural education that you experienced was great. Success in life is becoming what you want to be. You can become what you want to be only by making use of things. You can have the free use of things only as you become rich enough to buy them. To understand the science of getting rich is therefore the most essential of all. So as you guys start to go through this and as you read it, and I hope you're reading this on your own outside of this, because having an opinion beforehand and talking them through and really having something to benefit in this conversation is powerful, because there's nothing wrong in wanting to get rich. The desire for riches is really the desire for a richer, fuller, and more abundant life. If you're in it just for the money, I do believe that that's wrong. But if you're in it to have a richer, fuller, and more abundant life, then that is what he says right here, which is praiseworthy. The man who does not desire to live more abundantly is abnormal. And so the person who does not desire to have money enough to buy all he wants is abnormal. And we have so many people telling us it's wrong to be an entrepreneur. We have so many people telling us that it's wrong to be talking about success right now. I believe that they're wrong. I believe that the best thing that we can do is to figure out how to help the most amount of people during this crisis. And the best thing that we can do is to figure out how to feel comfortable acquiring the resources it takes to do that. And this is my favorite part of this whole chapter right here. It says there are three motives for which we live. We live for the body, we live for the mind, and we live for the soul. No one of these is better or holier than the other, and all are alike desirable. And no one of the three, body, mind, or soul, can live fully if either of the others is cut short of full life and expression. It is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny the mind or body. And it is wrong to live for the intellect and deny body or soul. Ron just wrote in there, it says, money is a good tool people use it for if they use it for good. Being in debt or being debt free allowed Judy and I to support a single mother and her daughter this winter. Was a gift to Judy and I for being able to do this. Was awesome. That is what we're talking about with this, is having the resources to help other people. And that is what is rich, to have a healthy body, to live for the mind, have the ability to have some downtime, and to go through crises without just crumbling as a result of it. And right here it says on there is to cut short. It says it is not right or noble to live only for the soul and deny the body or the mind. Guys, that's what so many people, so many religious people, I think today are not understanding. You can't just live for the soul and deny the mind and body. If you truly are out helping people and your body is broken down because you're not giving it the right food, or you're not moving, you're not exercising, then you are cutting your development short. That, to me, is what we're talking about here, is the ability to live for all three main areas of life. Wherever there is unexpressed possibility or function not performed, there's unsatisfied desire, because desire is possibility seeking expression, or function seeking performance. Guys, I'm going to go through and I'm going to skip through a couple of these to the end, but this is to me some of the most powerful parts of this first chapter. To live fully in soul, a person must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. One of the things that Nacho said a little bit earlier is the ability to give to others. Yes, to give of your time, you have to have the resources to give of your time. The most valuable thing that we can give to people is our time. And if you are broke, and if you are working nonstop throughout the day, and you don't have the ability to take time and to give to others, then you are being denied your expression by poverty. And love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in the giving. Guys, it is the use of these material things that a person finds full life for his body, develops his mind, and unfolds his soul. It is therefore of supreme importance to him that he should be rich. Guys, I believe in this, and as I've gone through it, it's been interesting. The more comfortable I am in talking to people about this concept of being rich, of being able, right here, to, if you neglect this study, you see halfway through, you are derelict in your duty to yourself, to God, and humanity, for you can render to God and humanity no greater service than to make the most of yourself. This book is powerful to me. And that chapter is something that causes so much consternation, so much disagreement with people. And the reason why I wanted to start with this, before we start going into the basics of building our business, we go into the basics of entrepreneurship, is that so many times we misunderstand this. And I love right here with this quote from Steve Bowe. It says, God's gift to you is more talent and ability than you could possibly use in your lifetime. Your gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as you can in this lifetime. That is what I wanted to share with you guys today with this. This is the precursor to it. This is where there are disagreements. This is where there are so many people that you know, especially as we study religion, as we study the soul, as we study what it takes to be able to be successful, but also as we talk about this, there's so many people that get mixed up as they read different things and thinking it's wrong if I seek riches. Not if you intend on doing good things with those riches, guys. There's nothing wrong with developing yourself. Something that I said yesterday, The most important person in the room is always you. And why do we say that? And I'll give that much used metaphor on a plane. If the plane starts to lose oxygen and you're trying to put the oxygen mask on a child and you pass out and you're unable to give oxygen to the child or to you, then you failed. You must be able to have the resources. You must have the wherewithal to be able to have the confidence in yourself to go out and then help other people. And to do that, you must feel comfortable with the idea that money gives you the ability to live a more complete life, to give more, and to be able to help people such as the Mother Teresa's have the resources that they need to be successful. Let me ask you guys just a couple questions, and I would love some interaction on this to end it. So the first question I'd ask you, and I hope you're taking notes for yourself on this one, is how do you feel about money? In other words, how comfortable are you with the idea of being rich financially? Love to hear that. I know that John, I enabled you to be able to unmute yourself. I know you've always been a successful entrepreneur. How comfortable are you? How comfortable are you with the idea of becoming financially successful, financially wealthy, and teaching other people to do the same? And I'd ask the same, and I'd even ask Rodolfo, what thoughts have you had as you go through this? What makes you really start to understand how to be able to help people with the money that you're able to make and teach them to make? John, go ahead and unmute yourself if you can. I actually think you're in Asia right now. So if you're unable to do that, then I
Correct,
understand.
Jeff.
There you are.
I'm stuck in Asia, so hopefully you can hear me because I'm on my mobile connection. So how comfortable, for me, I see money as a tool, to reach, the things you want to do. So what you're talking about today, it resonates with me, and other people comments about, that money is not the goal, the goal to reach, but with money you can do so much more, like Nacho also told. So I have zero problems with making a lot of money, because the more money you make, the more you can do with your life. It's that simple to me.
Well, and I met John in 2008, and I saw just the abundance mentality that he created with so many of the people. We went to this amazing event that he put on, and I've seen in the last 10, 12 years, his ability to influence other people and to give them the confidence to do it. Heinz, I know that you were the first person on the call. Actually, you're the second, right behind Anna and Rodolfo. I'd love to get some of your thoughts as you go through this, because I know that right now, there's a lot of people trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. How do we best help people? And unmute yourself, and you guys explain to me. Here's another question that I'd love to get some feedback on. What makes a complete life, and how does money help you have that complete life? Hope you're thinking through those, guys. And the last one is, in what area of life could you most improve? Mind, body, or soul? Guys, for us to be successful during these times and what follows in the weeks to come, we must have a proper foundation. We must have the confidence, and we must know with certainty that we are going to do good by prospering. Guys, we are going to continue to go through this. I encourage you to read the second chapter. I encourage you to talk to your group about this. I encourage you to understand that being an entrepreneur means feeling comfortable earning money. And only through that money are you going to be able to have the health and the spiritual time that you need to be able to change your life first. If you're not dedicated to changing your life first, you're always going to struggle helping others. Guys, this Power Hour is dedicated to helping people be reflective and truly go through some of these changing moments that are going to change, that they're really going to affect your life, guys. Share this with the other people. Share this to help them understand, as Rodolfo put in there, Rodolfo and Anna, soul, mind, and body. It really is the mind, body, and soul, guys. And when you have the resources, you will continue to change and impact the world. And if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the money, understand that the reason why we talk about this is to give you the confidence that you can plant that seed in fertile soil, that you're going to start to grow and you're going to impact the lives of the people around you. And you can do that by having the resources. Guys, we'll be on here again tomorrow at the same time. Share it with your friends. We're going to go through chapters 2 and 3, and we're going to prepare ourselves to go through the GFU launch planner, after which we're going to go through and teach people how to use Facebook appropriately during this time. We're going to teach people how to use some of the new tools and some of the new services that we're going to be announcing in the coming weeks. Great things are happening, guys. But what we need is an army of people believing in themselves, understanding that they are doing good by becoming successful. Thanks for being on, guys. It's been cool to see people from all over the world, everything from John's in Asia. Like I say, we have Western Europe on here. We've got Mexico. We've got Canada. To me, it's exciting to see that we have an army of people that are starting to understand the importance of becoming so they can go out and do. Thanks for being on, guys.